All right, so this is the desired end state, right? This is page 1 of Google. I'm searching living on Douglas Lake, Tennessee. I don't know if you can see this. Let me see if I can blow this up a little bit. After the AI overview, the first organic result is one of our clients, Caitlin Warren in Tennessee, and that's one of the blogs that we've created for her. We don't just do blog content. We'll do commercial pages as well. But I will say 25% of the citations in ChatGPT it's blog content, right? The world has moved from keywords to more of a what is the searcher's behavior, or what is their intent, right? So a lot of our content is answering specific questions, and segments of these blogs will get picked up in chat. And I say ChatGPT, all the large language models. Chat's got probably 90% of the market share, 800 million active users every single week, 400 million just a few months ago. It's doubled in just a few months, right? We're talking about like the advent of electricity here. What is this going to look like in 6 months or 12 months from now? And by the way, these agents are getting phone calls from being discovered in ChatGPT when searching who's the best realtor in my market, who's the best real estate agent, right? So if I can draw a quick parallel before I jump in here, show of hands, who gets calls from the map pack, the Google map pack from Google Business Profile? You're in the top 3? Probably are. Top 3? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's 3 or 4 years ago, we launched a service at my time there, a curator, to help agents get in the map pack to make the phone ring. Those agents are getting the lion's share of those phone calls when someone is Googling who's the best agent in my market. That's happening today with ChatGPT, and most agents don't even know this is a thing yet. And we'll get into that today as well. So this is the end state here. Here's another example of a blog, safest neighborhoods in DC after the AI overview. The second, and this is a much more competitive market than in Tennessee. Competitive meaning a lot more competition, larger population, a lot more content out there on the web. And the second result there is Chris Spiker, the Spiker Group, the top 11 safest neighborhoods in DC. That's one of ours as well. So it's appearing in the top. By the way, you want to be on page 1 of Google because that's where the lion's share of clicks are. But this is also being picked up by the language model. So what's it like living on Douglas Lake? So what happens when a buyer or seller is going through the journey? A lot of them are using ChatGPT today in conjunction with Google. So if somebody's searching, hey, I'm considering moving to Tennessee, tell me what it's like to live on Douglas Lake. And you see it provides a comprehensive overview of what it's like to live here. But if I can show you, these are the citations, all right? And so you see Caitlin here. Here's that blog. There's a few other citations sprinkled throughout. Caitlin again. It's the same blog, by the way, I was showing earlier, pros and cons of living on Douglas Lake. She's sprinkled throughout. This is, we only have so much time here today, but there's a lot that goes into what I'll call traditional SEO and AI SEO, AI visibility. One sliver is the content that's on your website. And so we're going to create that today. So I'm going to show you the prompt, and we're going to go through the entire process here together. Now, this is the prompt. Again, you're going to have access to this right after I wrap up here. All a prompt is a set of instructions, right, to tell ChatGPT what you want it to do. This is one of the prompts, one of the many prompts we use on behalf of our clients. And we'll use variations of different prompts for different reasons. One would be the topic is different, so we need a different set of instructions. Another would be the models change. 5 blindsided us. We have to continue to be aware that the next model is coming out. So GPT-5 dropped just 2 weeks ago, which means this prompt is maybe 10 days old, and we've used it more than 200 times. So we're constantly having to revamp the set of instructions to make sure the outputs are exactly what we want. So just to run through this section by section, this is what we're putting into ChatGPT. So role and task. All this means is, who is chat writing as? In this case, it's a knowledgeable, I'll blow this up. You all see this in the back? Okay. Knowledgeable U.S. Real estate writer producing purely informational blog content about topic in location. You don't need to change any of the variables you see, topic, location, keywords, all that's down below in the inputs. So we'll just leave all this alone. So yeah, role and task. Who are you writing as, or who do you want chat to write as? What is their task? Primary objective is what we want them to do. What's the outcome we're looking for? We want a clear, a factual, just an article of following an outline with the right word count, using these keywords. And by the way, while adhering to federal and state fair housing rules, that's very important. We've baked that in here as well about dislocation. So point of view and style, this is subjective. This is what we like. You should make this your own, but we have voice and tone here. So we want, AI will tend to write very robotic, right? We want this to be, we have three sets of eyes, I like to say, that we're catering to, three audiences. One is the models, like ChatGPT. One are the search engines, like Bing and Google. And then third is the consumer. So chat, the models, they'll read the content, but will the consumer read the content? Are we going to lose them? So that's all we're getting at with this section here. Again, it's subjective. You can make this your own. In the rhythm, we're trying to break up the patterns. Chat will write very robotically, or can tend to if it's not prompted appropriately. So we want short, we want punchy lines, some long sentences. That way the paragraphs aren't all the same length, the word count's not all the same. Those are AI markers. Right? We're going to get to that in a little bit, what that means. Language guardrails, again, these are AI markers. We don't want it to feel like ChatGPT wrote this, although it did.
Mm-hmm. I just caught that. Who's ever seen that? It's not just X, it's about Y. I think the first thing I felt.
Yeah, appreciate that. I'll let the prompt engineers know you gave them kudos. I'm a marketer. This is a disclaimer. Not a prompt engineer, not a data scientist. So if I can do all this, you all can do this as well. All right, the fair housing. This is where we want to make sure in our industry that we're adhering to fair housing. I'll let you read this after. I don't want to take too much time on the prompt, but we bake this in to make sure we are as compliant as possible. You still want to QC the output after the article is written. The research, we want to cite the sources. Anytime we're using data, statistics, we want to cite the sources, and we want to use authoritative sources as the primary source. This is outline control. This is reminding ChatGPT, do this. Follow the outline exactly. Expand the section with specific, actionable information. Just do what I tell you to do. Data and numbers, this one's important. This one I had to play around with for a while. When 5 came out, it started using sources from 2020, which is just way too old. So what we're saying here is make sure the information you're using is current. We're in the middle of 2025. If we're going to inject housing information into this, let's use July. We're in August here. If you're using population data, well, maybe census is doing this, year over year, so 2024 is okay. But let's not go too much further back in time than that. Keyword and word count. Use these keywords. Sprinkle the words I'm going to give you naturally into the article. And word count. Try to stay within 10%. So we're going to tell it. Yeah, right. You're laughing because it doesn't listen to you, right? Yeah. Bane of our existence too. All right. What to exclude? No CTAs. No calls to action. No lead gen. No contact me. Purely informational resource. And now here's the checklist. Okay, make sure the outline matches the outline exactly. Don't miss any sections. No steering language for fair housing. Use the keywords, word count. We're just telling it again. Don't forget what I told you earlier. Now, I highlighted this yellow for all of you to know this is what you will personalize. So today we're going to write on living in Deerfield Beach, Florida. So Joe, you use Phoenix. Or you change this to living in Phoenix, Arizona. The location, Deerfield Beach, Florida. This right here is the content outline. What that means is this is how we're going to structure the content on the page itself, on this blog. Now, I had to keep this really general for everybody to be able to use this. So today we're going to crawl, walk, run. This is the crawl. When we get further into this session, I'll show you how you can start running to make the content even better. So this is what the page will look like. Living in Deerfield Beach, what to know before you move. And then you have these sections, right? Quick snapshot. Neighborhoods and housing types, getting around, yada, yada, yada. At the end, FAQs, which ChatGPT loves FAQs, right? Against the question. Word count, 2,000 words. There's no hard and fast rule here, but I would keep it above 1,000 words. If you were writing an article on why is the sky blue, sure, okay, 500 words. You don't need that many words, but for something so comprehensive, 1,500 to 2,000 words, and I'll show you a way that you can use, a tool you can use, and it'll tell you how many words you should have on page. Lastly, keywords. I will get into where these keywords came from in a couple tabs from now. and the image prompt, we'll get to that later. So this is the prompt we're going to use. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to do this with one hand here as I hold the mic with the left. Look at this, multitask master. All right, so I've copied this. I'm heading over to ChatGPT. And anyone here not using ChatGPT? It's okay if you're not. I just want to know. Everybody is? At one? Okay, we got a brave soul back here. Okay. When you go to chat, and by the way, this is free version. You'll have access to what I'm doing on the free. Most of these tools are free, intentionally, to make sure that you can use these without having to invest in case you don't stick it out. But there's a free version on chat. There's a free version of Quillbot that I'll show you as well, which is an AI detector. So when you get into ChatGPT, click new chat, it's automatically going to toggle onto the new model, which is 5. We've been messing around with this a ton since it dropped 3 weeks ago. We're using the thinking model. It's a little bit slower. And the reason why we're using thinking versus the normal 5 is because of AI detection. It's a little tricky to make sure it's passing AI detection. Thinking mode does a great job. It takes a little bit. And I think of thinking as an old guy sitting in a reading chair, stirring the glass of Merlot. So it's a little bit more thought goes into it. So all I did was cut and paste, and it's going to think. It's going to take a few minutes. We're going to come back to this. It's like a cooking show where you watch the dish go into the oven, and then somebody pulls out a dish from you. It's already done. Yes. Yes. We don't have that much time. So if I go over here, this is the output. So this is roughly a 2,000, a little bit less, article. This alone is worthy enough to go up on your website, okay?
How much did you spend to ask someone to write that for you? Yeah. What?
It's a lot of fun too. It's a lot of fun to do this. Just to read a few sections, won't read the whole thing. I can make this available too, but you'll have the prompt. You can go create your own. So this is, if you remember the prompt, let's see how well it followed the directions. If I go to the outline, we have living in Deerfield Beach, what to know before you move, quick snapshot, neighborhood and housing types. Living in Deerfield Beach, what to know before you move, quick snapshot, neighborhood housing. So you see what I mean? These are the H2 sections, the header 2s, and it's following it to a T. What I love, I live part of the year down here, and I live in the Cove. So that's one of the keywords I threw into the list here. But just to read a section so you see the quality of what's being written, the specificity of what's being written. So east of US 1, the Cove is a classic boating neighborhood. I don't know about canal front, single family homes and streets that drift toward Hillsborough Boulevard and the intercoastal, yada, yada, yada. So you get the point. Now this would never go up. We would never put this up because of the H2s chosen. But again, we're going to get into how to make the content even better. But again, this is so fast and so inexpensive. If you're hiring VAs to write content for you, if you have a marketing person on your team, if you are taking time out of your day to do this, I used to, before chat, I would do this a lot at a curator. It would take me weeks. It's sad to admit it, but it would take me weeks to perfect the blog I would be writing for curator's blog. Now I could do the output, 10x what I used to be able to do at a fraction of the cost. I'm sorry? Can I tell, the question was, can I ask ChatGPT to use the API style? Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. A lot of what we do, we don't tap into the API because we work with every content management system or every website provider in real estate. It's important. For WordPress, yes, we do. We could tap into the API. But for what we do, we don't. So there's the human in the loop. It's a very painstaking process. I'm not. I left to found this company. I remember you. I remember you. Yeah. It's good to see you again. Yeah, it's good to see you again. Yeah. All right, so here's what we're going to do. So we're not going to go through the whole article, read the whole article, but we're going to take the article and copy this. So step 1, you take the prompt, you change the inputs to match your market. This is the keyword we're targeting here, is living in your town, your city. Step 2, we write it. Go grab a coffee, come back 4.5 minutes later. In fact, let's see if it's done. That's still thinking, right? Could take 5 minutes. Step 3, so this is Quillbot. Can't see it. It's QUILLBOT.com, quillbot.com. This is an AI detector, or one of the features that has AI detection. There's a lot out there. There's Zero GPT, I think is another one that we've used. And so what we're doing here, this is a really important step that most people don't do. So if you're creating content with ChatGPT or a different model, most will just publish that to the website and call it a day. That is a mistake. And the reason for that is it's likely not passing AI detection. Google especially is constantly removing, or not removing, but unindexing pages that are flagged as being spammy, as non-helpful, as duplicative. I mean, how many of you have the same blog? How many of you have the same blog as another agent in a different market just because you have, by nature of having the same website provider, right? It's impossible, again, not to disparage them. We did it at Curator. You can't create blogs for every single market. It just is impossible to scale. But the problem is that blog will never be on page one because Google sees, oh, this is verbatim word for word as 500 other blogs on the web. That's never going to see the light of day. So, and actually just in May of this year, Google unindexed millions of more pages. They will continue to do. There's a big update last year. I think they pulled like 20% of all the pages on the internet that they deemed to be spammy or unhelpful.
And a little teaser for later in the day, we're going to have a session later with Teresa and Brian Hurley. Brian is a senior Google engineer in the room. They'll be sharing more about this too. So you're going to hear from the horse's mouth as well, which is awesome.
No pressure, Brian. Yeah. So Quillbot, yeah. So all we want to do here is to make sure, does this feel like it was written by AI? You want a 0, so we detect the AI, and it's coming back 0. And if it doesn't, if we don't get a 0 for our clients, it doesn't go up into their website. It doesn't always get it right. Again, is it likely? Quillbot doesn't know, but it's looking for the markers that we've pulled out or we instructed it in the prompt. Break up the sentence length, break up paragraphs. Don't use too many M dashes, although I see some. But we're getting the 0 here. Good question. The question was, what if you don't get a 0? Edit it. There's a few things you can do. One is sometimes it's quicker just to go back to the prompt being used. Now this prompt should give you the 0. Sometimes you might see 1%, maybe it's one sentence. Sometimes I'll just delete the sentence, right? Maybe I'll just reword it. It's really hard to tell why it's being flagged. Sometimes it's, no, I actually have an example to show you. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I got you, Jeff. All right, so for fun, while I was sitting over there, I went in and said, give me a blog. Let me find it here. Looking for one that says no prompt. There it is. Okay. So if you just go to chat and say, I'm using the same model, same 5 thinking. I want to write a blog article about living in Deerfield Beach that ranks on page 1 of Google. Write me an 1,800 word article. This is it right here. No prompt. Structurally looks the same, right? It's the same headers. Put this into Quillbot. 30%. All right. Don't put that on your website. And this one I would not edit. It's just, it would take you a long time. Scrap it. Go back to the prompt. See what went wrong there.
So how did you evade the AI detector the first time? When you both gave up a certain telltale phrases that.
Mm-hmm. How do you evade the AI detection? It's the prompt. It's what's going into here. Varying the sentence length. It's basically sprinkled all throughout. Yeah, great question. But
wait, what is the 30%?
Okay, another good question. I didn't explain this well. What this number represents, it says 29% of this text is likely AI, everything that's highlighted. So Quillbot is reading this and saying, based on the sentence structure or the paragraphs, the lengths, it looks too robotic. It looks too perfect. Humans are imperfect. It feels like a human didn't write this.
So what threshold are you looking for?
0. You want a 0. Yeah. Now, can you get away with 5%? Sure, but we don't roll the dice at FlyDragon. All right, in the interest of time, I'm gonna keep moving. So step 1, you get the prompt, you write the article, you throw it into Quillbot, you get the 0. What happens next? This is actually the longest part of the process. This is where the team hates doing because it is a painstaking process. We're gonna go to one more tool, and it's called Neuron Writer. And I'll spell it because I don't think you can see this. And again, I'll share these links, but Neuron, Neuron, writer.com. Now, we've written this beautiful article. It passes AI detection. It's good enough to go on your website, but is it good enough to outrank its peers? By peers, I mean the other content on the web that is also ranking for the keyword that we're aiming to rank for, which is living in Deerfield Beach. We're going to find out. So if you go to Neuron Writer for the first time, now this is the only one that doesn't have a free version, but I want to say it's $20 a month, right? Worth it. Worth it to, if you want to rank on page 1 of Google, and you want your informational blogs to also be picked up as credible citations in the models, to me, it's worth the $22 a month. So when you go here, all you're going to do is create a new project. You'll type in your domain, and then what that will do is create a new project. I'll skip that step. It's very intuitive to do, but these are all our clients here. So I've got this one over here. So we're doing this for living in Deerfield Beach. I've got a few different examples. Already have this loaded up. I'm gonna walk through this for a couple of minutes. So all you're gonna do here is cut and paste from your Google Doc. Take it from ChatGPT, paste it into a Google Doc, take it from the Google Doc, paste it into here. It's not complicated. Although it sounds complicated, it's not. So this is what this is saying here. I'm going to blow this up a bit. The score, where is it pulling the score from? It is going to compare what you put in here to the pages that are ranking for this keyword today. So you can see, hopefully you can see, but what's saying here is the highest of all selected competitors is an 82. Pretty good score. So they have a scoring algorithm. They're giving this an 82. The top one result, the number one result, is scoring a 30. Pretty low. I would imagine the top one, the first result is a very strong domain. They don't have to go as deep as we do. We don't have, our domain authority isn't what maybe a niche.com is, which I think is what the first result is. So we don't just need to beat the first result. We want to beat the scores or the highest score on that page. Does that make sense? Okay, great. So it's an 82. Right out the gate, we're 55. All right, so halfway there. Right, halfway there. What do we have to do to get this above an 82? And it's also, just calling out a few other things. It's scoring the page title, which is this up here, page title. And to describe this for a second, think of the page, and it actually shows you right over here, but the page title is what appears in Google. So when you search living in Deerfield Beach, which I have pulled up, did this search, it was niche, yeah. So they get away with it. They have a low score, but they got a really strong domain. So that hyperlink there is the page title. Below it is the meta description, a little bit longer of a description of what the content is. Google is reading that. So you've got the page title and meta description. Headings, that's the H1s, the H2s, maybe H3s, all the way down through H6. And all that means, for those of you who aren't familiar with the terms, this is page hierarchy. This is how you organize your content for the search engines to understand it, right? So you only need, actually, let me rephrase. You only want one H1. I've seen some sites that we work with, and again, the providers are not focused on SEO, so I don't fault them, but in some cases, we've seen every page, all the headers on page is an H1. That is very confusing to Google. Google is looking for one H1 on page, that's it. The very first, basically, like, think of it as your page title. It is the topic of your content. So if I had every header section as an H1, how would Google know what the point of this is? Is it living in Deerfield Beach, or is it the neighborhoods and housing types? Is it getting around it? You know what, never mind. I'm just going to put that on page 10. It's never going to see the light of day. So if you take anything away from this part, just have one H1 at the top. And then from there, your main sections are your H2s, and you might have subsections under an H2, that's an H3. And that's all that means. So that's your headings. It's telling me I'm about halfway there. My headings kind of suck compared to the content that's ranking on page 1 today. Terms, and that's these over here. I'm missing a ton of other keywords, other entities that the pages that are on page 1 of Google today have in common with each other. So we want to weave these in. And one by one, I've done that. It takes forever. I'm gonna show you an easier way to do that. So basically going back to the prompt and you would just cut and paste and you're done. But I'll get to that in a minute. So we need this score to go up, and it's as easy as doing it. So if I look at this for a second, let's see if I can do this live. Living in Deerfield Beach, Florida, what to know before you move is the page title. And it's telling me that if I had these words, my score would improve. Like what to know about living. So if let's see, I don't know if I can do this one-handed, but I'm going to see if I put this down with, thank you, perfect. All right, so what to know about living here. And sometimes I like to put in a 2025 so people know it's relevant or it's timely. So living in Deerfield Beach, Florida, what to know about living here. Now I would spend more time on this, but I just want to show you now that know about living is being pulled in and the score is going to start to jump. Did it move? Was it already at 55? All right. All right. It won't always move. I just changed one thing. Yeah. Right. Oh, you know how many times I've done this? So I have to laugh at it because before I would just get angry. Now, just to show you, you want to weave these in naturally, but keywords. So I see FL, I see Dine, I see Miami. For whatever reason, 1999 or 1990. But as I start to add these in, you're seeing the score. So now the score is moving. Okay. So the goal is get as many of these in with the caveat of you want to be as natural as possible. If 1990 doesn't fit in my article, which it wouldn't, I just wouldn't include it. You don't need 100. We're trying to beat an 82. Thank you. All right. Now, I've already done this. So I've gone through on the plane ride over here, had a 5-hour flight. I've already done this. So here's what the final product looks like when you fully optimize it. This is the optimization step. So 83 is a score to beat. We're at a 96. We can't be perfect. We'll take a 96. It's a really good score. It doesn't guarantee, I'll say this as a disclaimer, that your page will rank. There are dozens of other factors, your domain rating, your technical SEO, but this has I have the highest degree of confidence that this will land on page 1 when we have scores as high as this. So now if you look at the title, it's a 93%. I've got most of the headings that it's recommending. And there's a million and one little gadgets in here. If you notice, I'm only looking at a few things. I'm only using a few features. So headings and article are really the two most important parts of Neuron Writer. Headings are going to show me the headings to use. Again, that's these parts here. And the article will be just the keywords sprinkled throughout. So that's the ultimate goal. Get the score as high as possible, and you have a better shot at landing at the top of Google. Now, I mentioned there's an easy way to weave these keywords in, and let me show you how to do that. So with basic, these are the basic keywords. If you click on this button here and click list of terms, it just copied it to the clipboard. So I just basically Control V this thing. If I head back to the brief, this is where you would put those in. You would paste the keywords here. All right, so I know I showed you starting from prompt to the end. What I'm telling you what to do is start with Neuron Writer and get the list of keywords it's recommending, feed it into the prompt, and then run it. And then you don't have to spend as much time optimizing it in Neuron Writer. It can be very quick inside of Neuron Writer. Make sense?
How do you generate the list of keywords without the usual article?
So what's happening, you don't need the article yet, because what it's doing is it's telling you the competitors. The score would be a 0 by just, I don't want to clear that out. Actually, I'll show you one more thing there. Let's pull this one up. This is unnecessary. So before you even paste into Neuron Writer, if I just clear everything out, you're already going to see the competitors. Because the first step on Neuron is so I skipped that step in the interest of time, but I'll show you because I don't want you to mess this up. So if I go to Project Home and I start a new query, let's say, moving to Deerfield. I can't type one-handed. Moving to Deerfield Beach. It's going to take a few minutes to think. What's then going to happen is it's going to show me all the results on page 1, and I'm going to check off the ones I want to compare it to. The Quoras, the Reddit threads, YouTube even, don't select those. Those are not helpful. The ones you'll select are other blogs. You might see there are other pages like Niche. And this is going to take a couple minutes to think. I'll just go right to the first page, right? These are the same results you'll see in Neuron Writer. So Niche, I would keep that checked off. I would deselect Reddit, the YouTube videos. I would keep these sites here. I would unselect Quora. If you're looking for 5, 6 examples, that's what the score is based off of.
have here, would it have to be in the website and blog?
The content itself, website, absolutely on your website. Yes. So now we have this blog. Let me show you one last thing, and then we'll get to that. So notice this looks a little bit different than the generic content outline I gave with all the H2s. We have H3s in here. So it's a little bit, now we're starting to run here. And what I got here is what it's like to live in Deerfield Beach. Subsections now, introduction to Deerfield Beach. Why choose Florida, community and lifestyle, and then boom, next section, real estate in Deerfield Beach, types of housing. So this is more comprehensive than the example I'm sharing. Here's the easiest way to do this, to decide what your headers need to be. Google, living in your town or city, in your market, it will tell you. Like, these people have already figured it out. Niche has figured it out. This link here, if I click on it, these are the sections, these are the H2s. Moving to Deerfield Beach, what you can look forward to. Deerfield Beach's real estate market. How long do properties stay listed in Deerfield Beach? This is inspiration for you to say, okay, this page is on page 1 of Google. I should probably have very similar H2s to what these pages have. And then if you notice too, it might be hard to see, but a lot of these entities, these keywords, are bolded. So you see many young professionals and retirees live in Deerfield Beach. You see it's a nice place to live, Deerfield Beach. Housing expenses are less than 2% lower than the national average. This should also, I would recommend letting it find its way into the article as well. Google is flagging this as something that's relevant and important. It's bolding this entity. So you can weave that in as well. So again, how do you come up with the content outline, which is this section here, right? This piece here. Now you can just use this, but go see the pages that are ranking on page 1 of Google today. Look at their H2s and H3s. What are they using for their header sections? It's working for them. Take inspiration. Doesn't mean you need to use it or use it verbatim. You might disagree and say, this is, I don't want to include this in the blog, but ultimately you have a outline of your content that meets the searcher's intent and answers the question you're trying to answer. In this case, what is it like living in Deerfield Beach? Make sense? Okay. We are running low on time. I got one last thing to show, and that is the image. Everything I showed you, it can be very complex the first time you see this, right? So the good news here, I'll start with the bad news. The bad news is our image creation process is also very complex. But the good news is I'm going to show you a quick hack here. And if I click on, all right, so Chris Spiker is an example. So these images here, this is his blog roll. We created these images for him. We're using Midjourney in conjunction with ChatGPT. None of these are real images, all AI generated. Pretty damn realistic, right? Pretty wild.
I just texted Chris and he's like, cool, show him more.
Yeah, I was gonna do it anyway, but thanks, Chris. So let me say this about the blog images. If you have the professional photography, of course, use it. Don't go to Google and grab an image and then use that. My time as curator, it happened far too often where an attorney would send a demand letter to one of our agents and saying, hey, agent, you grab this image, you're unauthorized to use it, pay us $500, pay us $2,000. So if you're doing that, don't do that. So stay out of the attorney's office. So what do you do if you don't want to pay for professional photography? You don't have enough, you have some images, not enough. This is what you're going to do for your blogs. So in the same prompt doc that you'll have access to, you're going to take that, you're going to start a new chat. You'll click on this plus sign. We're going to create an image and take an image, an inspirational image. So Deerfield Beach has a beautiful pier, if anybody's familiar with Deerfield Beach. And let's find a good one here that's not marked up. Yeah, we can use this image here. So that's the Deerfield Beach pier that we'll use. We're going to save the image. So now we save this image, and all I'm telling Chad to do here is, hey, take inspiration from this and recreate it. Make a unique photo. So now I'll add this in. So you got the image. Here's the prompt. I want to create a featured image for a blog. Photorealistic, high resolution image based on this image, and then we feed us some cool stuff here. Use early morning or late afternoon light. Use a Canon EOS R5 using a 35 millimeter lens, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what any of this stuff means. Yeah. All right. just because we're out of time, and it's going to take 5 minutes, I have an example that I did earlier. And let's pull that up and show you what it looks like. It's wild. What a time to be alive, huh? There it is. Looks pretty close to the Deerfield Beach Pier. So just to wrap up here, you've got the prompt now, at least for the living in. And you can use, if you work 5, 10, 20 towns, the same prompt works for all these locations. So you've got a prompt now to create the content. You now have the prompt to create the image for each of these pages. You have the Quillbot tool, which is free, to make sure it passes AI detection. And then lastly, usually the painful process, but this is the way you make sure you get on page 1 of Google and cited inside ChatGPT and the other models, is run it through Neuron Writer to make sure it has the highest scores possible, beat all those other people, and you will land on the first page of Google. You will be the agent that AI recommends. Thank you.
Work that it kind of went over people's head. That they got the quotes.
That's exactly what
How often do I renew it? So how often do we refresh the blog? That's a great question. A lot of times people will spend a lot of time on blogs and they just keep moving on and never go back. That's a great way to fall out of page 1. If you get there, you want to build the moat around that page or that informational article. General rule of thumb, every quarter. But I'll say this. Google Search Console will give you the answer to that. So if you go to GSC, you should all have it set up for your website. All that tells you is your performance, your organic performance specifically. So if you have a lot of impressions, a few clicks, you got to go back and optimize that page. If you have a lot of clicks and over time you notice clicks to that page are dropping, time to go back and refresh that page. If it says 2025 and we're now in 2026, go back and update that page.
Okay, does it be that I want I need on my new
From Dega. Well, I got married and moved to Surprise, Arizona. Now that's like Debbie does doubts. You know what I mean? She goes surprise. So the surprise is not a keyword like Deerfield Beach. That one was strongly there because the wrong people. You know, what would you say? Or
The answer is no. So if the question was, people aren't searching for, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then I would say all your content should be around surprise. Is it surprise? Yeah. Well, I think make sure the keyword has, and after this, I'll show you how you can do the keyword research. There are tools like Ahrefs or SEMrush that will tell you how many people are searching that. You do? Yeah, there are definitely ways, and they might not be a lot of traffic, but you can get that traffic. Should I be picking on them? You want to grab them? Okay, all right.
Let's go with her. Now, before we jump in, I need to put you guys to that. You are implementing what we've learned so far. We're not talking about, I'm thinking you got the 15 to 20 extra bits like ASAP. Because from what she said to what you said, what we have worked out, now we're bringing you into this portion of it. Like, we're not telling you to buy anything else. We're just telling you to implement these steps into your business to scale your business to a point where you might need to either figure out you need to go bigger or I got too much. So this is some really good stuff. All right. So
Jeff, if I could just mention one thing quickly, because at the beginning I mentioned that more than half, I think it was 52 or 53%. And where we got that number, we grabbed 25,000 websites from every provider you've ever heard or ever used, and we looked at their organic traffic. And that's where we uncovered, we knew it was a problem, we didn't know it was that bad, but 52%, we'll call it 50%, of every real estate agent's website has no organic traffic. The agents that we work with today to help them out, and now all of you have this help, is do the same thing that we're doing for our clients. They're, it's somewhere, 3 months in, it might be 300 visits per month. Chris Spiker's at 1,500, I think, website visits, organic visits per month, strictly from what we're doing. The Spiker Group's pretty big. They've done $1 billion in career sales.
that's $1 billion in career sales. I was on a call with them the other week. Yep, 15.
I thought it was 15, yeah.
15. I am 10 times his size, and he gets way more traffic than me. So.
Yeah, use this stuff, Jeff.
So to the sharing that works. What you're saying.
Super quick question. Why not tie that open API into Neuron Writer and just rewrite it in there instead of copying it?
So his question is, why not tap into the API? Well, I think the audience would appreciate it, but didn't get into that. Can you do it? Absolutely. Most of these tools have an API you can tap into. I think it was probably just above the audience head to get into the API, but yeah, absolutely. When we can tap into it, we do, because it just helps us scale, move so much faster.
But when you finish with those photos, then you even help more here at
But the vacation goes snap bot photo is being photo sent.
Yeah, I think we're getting, so the question is how to label the photo, like the alt text of the image. It's always best practice too. So your image has something called alt text that you know, the models and the search engines can read. So yeah, we would title the alt text something similar to the keyword that we're searching.
Yeah. Is the goal to crank out several different blog posts around different topics like SAC in your area and just repeat this process as much as possible to build as much content on your blog?
Yeah. So the question is the objective here to create as much content as possible? Yes. The answer is yes. A few caveats. Number one, be weary of any provider that says, hey, with AI, I can generate thousands of pages for you. They can. They usually don't rank well, right? Because it's trash. And that's why we don't do that. I mean, anywhere from 7 to 15 pages per month, because we have human in the loop. And what that means is, sure, you know, we wrote the prompt, sure, chat's writing the prompt, writing the content. There's a human on the other side of that QCing the content. So if it doesn't pass Quillbot, it goes back to per revision. It has to be optimized. That doesn't happen automatically. And so the human in the loop is important. It's super high touch. So it's hard to do more than 15 pages. If it's a new domain, you don't want to do that anyway. You don't want to have, you know, go from 4 pages to 50 overnight. You know, we want to drip feed those on. So the answer would be yes, as much as you can within reason, but targeting specific keywords, that's important too. So here are a few, just I'll rattle off the top of my head. Living in X or moving to X, or Chris, we had, what was it, best neighborhoods in DC. Location versus location is super popular, especially for ChatGPT. So, you know, Deerfield Beach versus Pompano Beach, right? If it's a common search, if people are asking those questions, if they're trying to narrow down their search of where they want to live, that's actually how I landed on Deerfield. I was looking at that versus Pompano Beach. Those are some really, you know, popular keywords.
Different detail. Where's this discover? Do you get through all these different articles? How do you get off? Because there's like then some random weird websites that had none on it.
How did they get to page 1? And what were you searching?
Well, it's not even that. It's just the default from my feed location. It's just a discover. You know, like have that Park Valley.
Got it. Yeah, it's not something. Yeah, it's not something. Who uses Discover? The Discover feature of Google. Yeah, exactly. I've never used it. I don't know. I mean, so I can't even answer the question. Yeah. Got it. So yeah, so what we're focused on is when somebody's asking a question, we want to be there. So if whether they're using Bing or Google or ChatGPT or Grok, how do we get there? And so that everything I just showed you is how you get to there to, you know, search. In the search engines. So yeah, Google, right? Or the models such as ChatGPT.
So when you say updating quarterly, you know, is that a matter of taking the blog post that you've done, putting it back in NeuroWriter, seeing how keywords rank, and then just you don't want to mess with this?
Yeah. So I'll say this again. Use Google Search Console to tell you. So if actually Chris's blog is a good example. I was just looking right before this. I think he has 500 clicks a month on that blog. I'm not going to touch that blog until I see the clicks start to degrade. Why break it if it's not broken? I mean, why fix it if it's not broken? So I would say look every quarter, look at GSC. We're doing this for clients, and you can compare, you know, the last 90 days to the previous 90, and you can sort by lost link clicks, lost impressions. If you start to see clicks, you know, we're losing clicks, we'll go in and see, what do we need to freshen up? So it's not a complete rewrite, right? Especially if it's still getting clicks. We might change a few things. Maybe it's just the title. We just want to send signals to Google that this page has been touched. It's been updated. Go crawl it. Right? Does that help?
So it's a matter of just tweaking
Fine tuning it, yeah.
So going to NeuroWriter again,
You might not even do that. It's hard to say, but the blanket statement, here's an obvious one. If it's something for 2024 or in 2025, update that. Maybe there's some timely information on the page in one of the sections, such as the stats and data. Exactly. So let's say, this blog we wrote, I know we didn't read through it, but it referenced, I think it was, average list price in July of 2025. That's not going to be too relevant come December, right? So maybe you're just going to update the stats and make sure you're linking to the correct source.
So my question to you is this: what you got going on with this? Do you think it could use good?
The question is, what we're covering here, would it be good on, what was the site? Answerthepublic.com.
So let's just say if I want to know what's first time Blue Myri, I go to the public, and I think to the public that
put it into your system. Yep.
That would be more.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, so I mentioned that there are 3 audiences or sets of eyeballs that we're catering to. One are the search engines, one are the language models, ChatGPT, all the others. Third would be the consumer. So I think if it's it needs to be helpful for the consumer. Is it answering their question? Is it giving them the information that they're looking for? And we're getting that brand impression that they're remembering. They got this information from timharveyrealestate.com up in Massachusetts. If you need anybody up there. I would, yes, the answer is yes. It's very helpful content. Promote that where you can. And actually, you just gave me an idea. This is all organic, right? You can influence the organic results by driving direct traffic to it. What that means is you all send emails, right? You all post to social, at least after today's sessions. If you have a blog that you've created, you send that out to your database. Now you don't have to worry about content for that particular email. Like, send that helpful blog out, post that to social. That drives direct traffic. People clicking the link, going to this. Google reads that, sees that, and says, oh, okay, this must be helpful, right? So indirectly will help you organic. It might prioritize that in an organic way. Joe?
There's also a way to raise your
Google business profile, your Instagram, your YouTube. So let's say you've got, a video for a particular area you just wrote a blog about. It gets crawled.
Yeah.
Because, this guy had the video too.
Yeah, now we're getting to the varsity level questions. So basically, how does this factor into Google Business Profile, YouTube? I'll say this also could be a source of inspiration for future YouTube videos. So living in Deerfield Beach, if you record that video, you can embed that on the page, a link to the YouTube video, right, which is owned by Google, YouTube, second largest search engine in the world. So you can promote that on different channels as well. When you talk about Google Business Profile, now we're getting into what I'll call off-page SEO. Everything we did here was on-page and website optimization. Off-page SEO would be, your authority, the reviews you have on Zillow, on Yelp, on Google, on Rate My Agent, Fast Expert, which are 2 very popular ones that ChatGPT sources a lot. Rate My Agent and Fast Expert. Press releases, Reddit threads, like getting picked up there. So when somebody's searching for, kind of getting to where we're trying to get to, because we can only cover so much here. If you want to rank for the best agent in your market with ChatGPT, somebody's typing in, who is the best agent in Deerfield Beach? Who is the best realtor in Deerfield Beach? It will provide a list of names. So you want those names. Agents are getting, did anybody have a call yet from ChatGPT? You have? And are you ranking? Must be. Yeah. Yeah, it's harassing. Succeeding by accident, still succeeding.
The first time it was like, hey, I saw you on the top of ChatGPT, but
yeah,
I was.
Yeah.
That's how we were like, we listened to the call to side. We were like, what do they mean?
Now, how do you get there is literally the $1 million question. How do you get to be the agent that AI recommends? This is part of the formula. And I know you do. I know you have SEO dialed in. So that and we don't work together, so she doesn't use us. She does it all. Those 2 right there are really good at what they do. So that in itself is proof that this is worth your time. So it's part of it. It's the on-page SEO. There's a lot of off-page that you can do with social profiles, getting picked up in press. Again, Reddit is always being cited in here. I did this one quick anecdote just for fun. Paul Kaplan Group in Palm Springs saw a thread. Somebody's asking about who. I need an agent. Who do you recommend? Here I am. I just wrote a press release for him, so I had the data in my head. Paul Kaplan has sold 1,500 homes, billion in career sales, XYZ. Here's a link, 500 reviews. Here's a link to his website. 3 days later, I'm on chat asking who's the best agent in Palm Springs. I query for Kaplan. I'm like, oh, what's it pulling in? I see Reddit. I'm like, no. I click. So I got to see, is this me? I click on it, go to sort by the newest Reddit post, Tim Harvey. It was me. So he's now on just for me commenting on one Reddit thread. So be active in the Reddit threads where you can. Plug yourself, shameless plug. It gets pulled in, and then you get recommended as the best agent or one of the best agents in your market.
Okay, who is gonna take what he just shared and build a blog tonight? Who wants to do it at lunch in the next 5 minutes?
Ready, go.
So, did you have
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have had that up the whole time. Like I lied, I'm not giving it away.
I want to see every single person's phone up in the air, all his lows.
All right, the big old QR code. There you go. You can also go direct to it. It's training.goflydragon.com. Again, this is just for you, just created for you. It's locked behind a paywall that you don't have to pay for, but nobody else can access this except for this group. $1 billion. 1 billion. And again, what's on the other side of this? You'll get the prompt, both prompts for the image and the blog, and then 5 videos. Ryan Durrani, one of my co-founders, recorded it. British guy. So he will swoon you with his voice. If I have not convinced you to do this, his voice will convince you to do this after you watch the videos.
I agree.
Yeah, yes.
Gigantic round of applause.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it all. Thank you.